My name is Claire Bennett, and the week of my wedding taught me the difference between being loved and being useful. Monday, 5 days before the ceremony. Flour covered my hands because I was baking lemon cookies as favors. Something small and homemade so the day would feel like ours, not like a production my parents could decorate with their opinions. Ethan Reyes, my fiancé, balanced a laptop on a stack of wedding programs in the living room. Juniper, our rescue dog, kept stealing ribbon off the dining table and trotting away like she'd invented a new sport. My mother stood in my kitchen like she owned the air. She tapped a nail against a sheet of paper, eyes bright with the kind of confidence that never bothered checking whether I agreed. Mom, Savannah needs a little help. Savannah, my older sister, the family's son. Every plan orbited her. Every conversation returned to her. When she smiled, my parents relaxed. When she frowned, they panicked. When I succeeded, they offered a polite nod and moved on. I forced my breathing to stay even. Me. What kind of help? Mom leaned closer, voice lowered like this was gossip, not an attempt to rearrange my life. Mom, she's doing a small launch event Friday night. A pre-wedding celebration since everyone's already in town. Great branding for her new line. She's short on the venue deposit. My stomach tightened. Me. Friday night, the night before our wedding. Mom, it'll be early. Champagne, photos, a little speech. You can move the rehearsal dinner. Everyone's flexible. It's a family weekend. Ethan muted his call and looked over, eyebrows raised. Silent question, silent support. Me. We already paid the restaurant, non-refundable. People booked flights and childcare around the schedule. Mom's mouth pressed into that familiar line. Disappointment shaped like control. Mom, Claire, don't be so rigid. It's not like Savannah asks for much. A short laugh escaped me, sharp and tired. Savannah demanded everything. She just wrapped it in dreams, so my parents called it passion. Me, I'm not moving my rehearsal dinner for her deposit. I'm not paying for it. Mom, you're making it about you. Me, it is about me. It's my wedding. Mom's eyes cooled. Mom, you've always had this problem. Keeping score, holding on to things, acting like the world owes you. My hands shook, so I wiped them on a towel, using the motion to hide it. Me, I'm not keeping score. I'm setting boundaries. Mom's face flickered with annoyance at the word. Mom, boundaries, therapy vocabulary, everything is a boundary now. Ethan stood and entered the kitchen, calm and steady. He kissed my temple like a shield. Ethan, Helen, we have a schedule we're keeping. Mom's gaze snapped to him, offended by the implication that I had a partner instead of a handler. Mom, Ethan, with respect, this is a family matter. Ethan's voice stayed level. Ethan, she is my family. Mom turned toward the door, then paused with her hand on the frame, choosing one last needle. Mom, Savannah has real talent. She's under pressure. You're stable. You'll be fine. You always are. Then she left, and the apartment felt like winter slipped in through the cracks. At the time, I thought that was the worst thing she could do. Reduce my life to stable, and treat that as permission to take. I didn't know the real worst thing was already waiting for me in a folder I didn't remember creating. In the Bennett house in suburban Cleveland, love was never scarce. It was conditional. My parents were not the kind of villains people recognize right away. No slammed doors, no obvious cruelty. There were family dinners, holiday photos, my father's coffee smell on Saturday mornings, my mother's careful handwriting on birthday cards. But there was also a ranking system, and everyone knew it. Savannah sat at the top like a crown my parents never questioned. She was 3 years older than me and effortlessly magnetic. Adults softened their voices around her. Teachers forgave her. My parents lit up when she walked into a room. When Savannah announced she wanted to pursue fashion, Mom cried happy tears. Dad bragged to everyone at work his daughter was a visionary. When I mentioned law, public defender work, not corporate, Dad offered one nod. Dad, practical, Practical, stable, fine. Those words became my cage. I worked for scholarships. I graduated. I moved to Chicago. I took a job that mattered even if it didn't sound glamorous on social media. I kept my head down and convinced myself purpose would be enough. Then the phone calls started. At first, it sounded temporary. A mortgage hiccup, a bank error, a bridge payment. Dad, just this once, then insurance, then a car repair, then Savannah has an opportunity. It always arrived with urgency and embarrassment, because embarrassment made me move faster than anger. Some part of me kept records, screenshots, confirmations, notes, because I'm a lawyer, and paper trails feel like safety. I never added it up. I never wanted to see the total in bright, unblinking numbers. I also never imagined that while I believed I was helping during emergencies, my family was building something permanent: a system, a machine, a script. One winter when I was 28, my heat went out in my apartment. The landlord promised someone would come tomorrow. Tomorrow became 3 days. I spent those nights in a hoodie and a wool hat, shaking on my couch while Juniper, then a tiny rescue, curled against my stomach. That same week, my father called with urgency in his voice. Dad, your mother's car won't start. We're stranded. Stranded. They lived in a warm house with 2 vehicles, neighbors, and a driveway. I lived 3 states away with a space heater that smelled like burning dust. My bank app saw the transfer before my pride did. Another time, after I won my first difficult trial, nothing headline-worthy, just a victory for a client who needed someone to believe him, I called my parents, hungry for pride. Mom, that's wonderful, honey. A beat, then a pivot. Always a pivot. Mom, Savannah's been crying. No one understands how hard it is to be an artist. Can you talk to her? My victory disappeared behind her feelings. The most painful memory came the year I got sick. Pneumonia that turned into a hospital stay. I called my mother from the ER because fear does that. It makes you reach for the people who should catch you. Mom, I wish I could come. Then the reason, polished and automatic. Mom, Savannah has an important meeting in LA. She's anxious. Your father and I have to go with her. Mom, you'll be fine. You're stable. I spent 2 nights in the hospital alone, then watched photos of my parents in Los Angeles appear online. Smiling, proud, beside Savannah. And the next week, when my father mentioned their insurance premium unexpectedly increased, the transfer went out anyway. Over time, I noticed the pattern with a kind of numb clarity. If Savannah needed something, my parents moved mountains. If I needed something, my parents suggested I handle it. If my parents needed money, their voices turned urgent and embarrassed because they knew it unlocked my guilt. And at some point, the requests stopped arriving as often, but the payments never stopped. I thought things had improved. Now I know what really happened. My generosity became automated, so my parents didn't have to request it out loud. That's the part that breaks you, realizing it wasn't just taking, it was optimization. Ethan entered my life like sunlight through blinds. We met at a community legal clinic. He worked at a big firm, but he volunteered on weekends without treating it like punishment. He listened. He showed up. He treated clients with respect that wasn't performative. When he proposed, it happened in our apartment on a random Thursday, while Juniper snored at our feet. Ethan, I don't want you to do everything alone anymore. The ring mattered, but the sentence mattered more. We planned a small wedding, a loft by the river, string lights, 50 guests, simple food, a playlist we made ourselves. I wanted the day to feel like relief. My parents wanted it to look like a magazine. They pushed to expand the guest list with people I barely knew. Business friends, church friends, neighbors who watched you grow up. People who didn't know me now, but would happily clap for Savannah if she walked in. When I insisted on keeping it small, Dad framed it as shame. Dad, you're making us look cheap. When I mentioned that Ethan and I were paying ourselves, Mom took it as a personal insult. Mom, Well, you're lucky Ethan can afford it. Savannah sent suggestions like commands. Change the color palette, it's too serious. Add a second outfit, it's more content. Hire a live painter, it's classy. When I didn't respond fast enough, Savannah went through Mom, and Mom called with a sigh as if Savannah's needs were weather. Mom, she's trying to support you. In my family, support meant Savannah getting what she wanted and everyone else adjusting. 2 weeks before the wedding, Mom pushed to replace our photographer with Savannah's runway photographer friend. My refusal produced a flicker of offense that felt almost childish. Mom, one day you'll understand image. Image matters. I wanted to answer with the truth. Image was why my needs disappeared, unless Savannah was fine. I swallowed it. Swallowing had been my training. Then Monday arrived, and Mom pushed for Savannah's Friday night launch. My no landed like a threat, and I realized something I hadn't wanted to name. My wedding wasn't triggering their concern. It was triggering their loss of control. On Wednesday afternoon, I opened my laptop to send the final seating chart to the caterer. Ethan had set up a shared wedding folder in the cloud. Vendors, contracts, timeline, guest lists, organized with the neatness that made me love him even more. I clicked through, attached the file, and then noticed a folder I didn't recognize. It wasn't in our wedding directory. It was in my personal cloud storage, synced from my phone. The label hit me in the throat. Bennett Family, 2020 to 2026. I clicked. Inside were subfolders, mortgage, insurance, Savannah Ventures, taxes, and one file called Monthly Support Schedule. I didn't remember making it. I opened it anyway. A spreadsheet filled the screen, and the air in the room changed. Tabs, formulas, notes, column, dates, column, amounts, column, payees, mortgage company, health insurance provider, Savannah's credit card, a travel agency. Travel agency? I scrolled. Savannah, Miami shoot trip, reimbursed by Claire, reimbursed by me. My hands went cold. My stomach dropped. Then I clicked a tab labeled Talking Points. My eyes moved over the lines once, twice, as if repetition would make them less real. Claire responds best to urgency and guilt. Use phrases like, just this once, family helps family, we're embarrassed, we'll pay you back. Avoid discussing totals. If Claire hesitates, remind her Savannah's career is fragile and Claire is stable. My vision blurred. This wasn't a series of emergencies. This was a playbook. For me. I clicked Savannah Ventures. Invoices filled the screen. Deposits for pop-up shops, studio rent, manufacturer payments. Confirmation emails with my name, my address, my account. I covered my mouth. Ethan walked in, took one look at my face, and crossed the room fast. Ethan. Claire! I turned the laptop toward him. He read silently. His expression shifted from confusion to disbelief to something sharp and protective. He checked file details, scrolling with a kind of careful anger. Ethan, your mom's email, creator, and it was shared to you 2 years ago. Shared to me. Either she trusted my silence that much, or she forgot her own mess. Either way, she never expected me to open it. My throat tightened until it hurt. Me. I thought I was choosing to help. Ethan's hand covered mine. Ethan, you were choosing. They turned your choice into a machine. That night we didn't sleep much. We sat at the kitchen table with the laptop open and went through the folders like investigators who didn't want to believe the case was real. Every click produced a new bruise. A mortgage statement with a note. Claire covers this. Do not mention annual total. An email reminding my father to sound embarrassed. A recurring calendar entry titled, Call Claire, Urgency Angle. Ethan pulled out a notebook and started writing numbers, tapping a calculator until his jaw tightened. Ethan, this is hundreds of thousands. My mind tried to refuse the total. Me. How did I not notice? Ethan, because you were trained not to. We saved everything: screenshots, PDFs, metadata, backups in multiple places, like preparation for a storm. My brain tried to bargain for a softer explanation. Me, they'll deny it. Ethan, yes. Me, they'll tell people I'm unstable. Ethan, yes. Me, how do I fight that? Ethan's answer was calm. Ethan, clarity. We drafted a short statement: facts only, no poetry, no rage. The boringness was the point. Harder to twist boring. Before bed, one question hovered between us: confrontation now or later? My living room had never been safe ground with my parents. Not emotionally, not psychologically. Me, not alone. Ethan's forehead rested against mine. Ethan, then you won't be. Wednesday night, after the final backup, I opened my banking app. The transfers were there, like teeth marks. Mortgage on the 1st, insurance on the 15th, a family support transfer labeled miscellaneous. I canceled them, one by one. Then I changed passwords: bank, email, cloud storage, every door, every window. Then I blocked numbers: Mom, Dad, Savannah. Silence followed, clean and terrifying. Not peace, clean. Thursday afternoon, my mother appeared at my door with a garment bag. Mom, your rehearsal dinner dress, perfect. Savannah approved. Me, I already have a dress. Mom's smile tightened. Mom, this is better. Me, we need to talk. Her eyes narrowed, wary, but she stepped inside, still carrying confidence like armor. I opened my laptop at the kitchen table and turned it toward her. The spreadsheet glowed between us. For a second, her face went blank. Then a small, dismissive laugh. Mom, what is this? Me, your spreadsheet. I clicked the talking points tab. She read. Her lips parted. Silence. Me, how long? Mom's throat worked like she was trying to swallow the moment. Mom, this is private. Me, it was shared to my cloud. I clicked through tabs: mortgage, insurance, Savannah's expenses. Mom straightened, defensive. Mom, no one forced you. Me, I didn't know it was automated. Mom, you were happy to help. Me, I was happy because I believed it was temporary. I believed you needed me. Mom's voice sharpened. Mom, we are your parents. Me, and I'm your daughter, not your payroll. She pivoted, searching for the old lever. Mom, this is Ethan. He's turning you against us. Me, this is me. Mom's color rose. Mom, if you cut us off right before your wedding? Me, it already happened. The air went still. Mom, you, you can't. Me, I can. Her eyes filled, fast, angry tears. Mom, you're going to ruin us. Me, you built a system. You just didn't expect me to see it. Mom, you're cruel. Me, I'm done. Her threat arrived, predictable as gravity. Mom, don't expect us at your wedding. A year ago, that would have shattered me. Now it sounded like a door closing on a room I'd been suffocating in. Me, okay. She blinked, thrown off by the lack of collapse, then stormed out with the garment bag swinging like a weapon. When the door shut, my body finally shook. Ethan came home and sat beside me on the floor without questions, letting the shaking run its course. I knew what my family would do next. They would rewrite the story. They would turn my boundary into a breakdown. Friday morning arrived with messages from relatives. I heard you're struggling. Your mom is worried. Please take care of yourself. My cousin Rachel. Your mom thinks you're having a breakdown. There it was. Preemptive concern, polite poison. Ethan watched me read, then took my hand. Ethan. Groundwork. Me. They're going to show up and act like the victims. Ethan. Then the facts go first. That night at the rehearsal dinner, my parents didn't appear. Instead, a text popped up on Ethan's phone from my mother. Mom, we're giving Claire space. She's not herself. Please keep her calm. Keep her calm. Like I was dangerous. Ethan deleted it. The dinner itself was beautiful. My best friend Maya toasted us and made me cry. Ethan's sister welcomed me with warmth that felt like medicine. Walking home under streetlights, Ethan squeezed my hand. Ethan. Tomorrow. Together. Saturday morning. Chicago sunlight that looked warm but felt like a trick. The loft glowed with string lights in early brightness. People carried flowers and laughter into the space. Ethan's mom fixed a crooked centerpiece without anyone prompting her. My bridesmaids pinned my veil while joking like they were trying to keep me anchored in my body. Then my bank app alert arrived. Mortgage payment attempt. Declined. My stomach dropped. Ethan's eyes sharpened. Ethan. They know. A new number buzzed my phone. Call me now. This is serious. You have 10 minutes before you ruin this family. My father. A call followed, then another. I answered once, speaker on. Secrecy had been their advantage for years. Dad. What did you do? Me. I stopped the transfers. Dad. You can't. The mortgage bounced, the bank called, we're humiliated. Humiliated, not worried, not sorry. Me. I'm getting married today. Dad. And you picked this week for a tantrum after everything we've done for you? In the background, my mother's crying rose and fell. A siren. Mom. Tell her to calm down. Tell her she's misunderstanding. Calm down. The family spell. Me. I found the spreadsheet. Silence. Then coldness. Dad. Private. Me. So is my bank account. Dad. Fix this today. Restart the payments. Don't embarrass your mother. Me. No. Dad's breathing turned loud. Dad. Meet us before the ceremony. We'll handle it quietly. Handle it quietly. Corner me, shrink me, rewrite. Me. Not in a hallway. Dad. Then you want to destroy us. Me. You did the destroying, just slowly. Mom's crying spiked. Mom. Please, you're being cruel. Old reflex. Comfort her. Apologize. Smooth. Then the spreadsheet line flashed in my mind. Claire responds best to guilt? Not anymore. Me. I'm ending this call. Dad. If you do this, we'll tell everyone the truth about you. A threat that used to cage me. Me. Go ahead, I'm ready. Click. My hands shook as I set the phone down. Ethan touched my cheek. Ethan. Now we plan for their entrance. We spoke with the coordinator. We made sure the DJ kept a microphone ready. Ethan quietly warned security. 3 people arriving loud and angry were not VIPs. Ethan opened the tablet. Ethan. Everything or just enough? Me. Just enough. Truth doesn't need a novel. The ceremony was simple and beautiful. 15 minutes where it was just Ethan and me, promising a life built on honesty. When he looked at me and promised I would never carry everything alone again, my throat tightened. That sentence felt like the opposite of, you're stable, you'll be fine. We kissed. People applauded. Music swelled. Then the doors at the back of the loft opened. My parents entered like they owned the space. Dad in a dark suit, wearing the expression he used when he wanted to look like the reasonable party. Mom in pale blue, tears already shining. Savannah behind them, hair perfect, eyes sharp, as if she'd arrived to judge an event rather than witness one. They picked the transition moment, when guests were hugging and moving. Strategic, when attention scattered. My heart hammered. Mom pressed a hand to her chest, voice loud enough to catch nearby ears. Mom. Claire, oh honey. Dad's voice was controlled but tight. Dad, we need to talk. Savannah's eyes skimmed my dress. Savannah. Cute. People turned. Confusion moved through the room. My mother pivoted to a small cluster of relatives and friends. Voice soft and trembling. Mom. My daughter has been having a hard time. Wedding stress. She blocked us. She thinks we've done terrible things. She's overwhelmed. Dad nodded solemnly, projecting calm. Dad. We're here because we love her. But she's making accusations. She thinks we used her. It's heartbreaking. Savannah's sweetness dripped like syrup. Savannah. She's always been sensitive. We're just trying to support her. There it was. My boundary dressed up as instability. Ethan leaned close. Ethan, now? I looked around. My coworkers, my friends, Ethan's family. People who knew me as competent, not crazy. If my parents spoke first, my silence would become confirmation. I moved toward the small platform where speeches were planned. The coordinator hesitated. The DJ lowered the music. The room quieted, curious. I took the microphone. My hands shook. My voice stayed steady. Me. Hi, I'm sorry to pause the celebration. I need to clear something up before it spreads. The room stilled. Me. You just heard a version of me that sounds confused and unstable. I inhaled. Me. I'm not confused. I'm informed. Ethan connected the tablet to the venue screen. A spreadsheet appeared behind me, crisp and undeniable. Title: Bennett Family. Monthly support schedule. A ripple of gasps. I kept my tone courtroom calm. Me. For 8 years, money has left my account every month to cover my parents' mortgage and other expenses. It started as requests. It became automatic. Dad's face drained. My mother's tears froze mid-performance. I clicked to the tab labeled Talking Points. The words filled the screen. Claire responds best to urgency and guilt. Use phrases like family helps family. Avoid discussing totals. Remind her Savannah's career is fragile and she is stable. The loft went silent in a way I'll never forget. Me. That is a script written about how to pull money from me. I clicked to Savannah Ventures. Invoices appeared. Deposits, studio rent, card payments, confirmations with my name. Me. This shows where the money went. Savannah's face flushed. Savannah. You offered. Me. Assumptions aren't offers. I faced the crowd. Me. I'm not sharing this for pity. I'm sharing it because my parents walked in ready to frame my boundary as a breakdown. My pulse thudded, but my words stayed clean. Me. I found these documents on Wednesday. I stopped the transfers. The anger you're watching is not grief over losing me. It's rage over losing access. I let the sentence land. Then I delivered the line that had been forming in me for years. Me. Love isn't a subscription. A beat. Then Ethan's mother, Patricia Reyes, started clapping. One clap, then another, building. Maya joined. Jasmine from my office joined. A wave of applause rose through the loft like breath returning. My mother's tears turned messy and real. My father's face tightened with humiliation. Savannah scanned the room for allies and found mostly disgust. I lowered the microphone. Me. Now I want to celebrate my marriage. If you're here for Ethan and me, please stay. If you're here to participate in a story where I'm dramatic for refusing exploitation, the exit is behind you. My parents stood frozen, as if the world had stopped following their script. Dad's hand closed around Mom's arm. Dad, come on. Savannah lingered, eyes locked on mine. Savannah, you ruin everything. Me, no. I stopped pretending. Then they left. The doors closed behind them. The loft exhaled. Music returned, tentative at first, then stronger. And for the first time in my life, the room didn't turn toward Savannah. It turned toward truth. The rest of the night wasn't perfect, but it was ours. Cake, dancing, laughing in places that still felt tender, because healing rarely looks clean in real time. A few guests checked on me. I gave them the honest version, shaken, not broken. Later, when the loft emptied and the lights dimmed, Ethan and I stood by the windows and watched the river carry the city's reflections downstream. Me. What now? Ethan kissed my knuckles. Ethan. Home. A marriage where no one writes your lines but you. In the days afterward, my family tried to shape the story without me. New numbers on my phone, voicemails full of anger, a vague social post from Savannah about betrayal and jealousy, hoping her followers would supply the details she wouldn't admit. But the spreadsheet didn't disappear. Facts don't soften just because someone wants them to. Relatives who once repeated the dramatic Claire narrative started requesting the truth. Some apologized. Others stayed quiet, uncomfortable with the idea that parents can be wrong. I let them. I wasn't auditioning for approval anymore. Ethan and I locked everything down. New accounts, new passwords, no shared access, no sign this quickly favors. It felt strange to treat my own family like a security risk, until I remembered they already treated me like a resource. One evening, Rachel sat across from me at my kitchen table with takeout and guilt in her eyes. Rachel, you were never dramatic. You were alone in your truth. My throat tightened. Me. I won't be alone in it again. A week later, a letter arrived with my mother's handwriting on the envelope. No threats, no guilt. One sentence inside. I don't know how to start over, but I want to learn. Maybe it was sincere. Maybe it was another angle. Either way, the rules had changed. My healing didn't require their permission. My future didn't depend on their apology. If rebuilding ever happened, it would happen slowly, with boundaries so clear they couldn't be mistaken for cruelty. That was the quiet victory no one clapped for. Not the moment I put receipts on a screen, but the moment I realized I didn't have to earn my place in my own life. I spent years preparing to be judged by people who benefited from my silence. When I stopped paying, they called it cruelty. When I spoke the truth, they called it drama. When I chose peace, they called it selfishness. None of those labels belonged to me. They were just the names my family gave to anything they couldn't control. Juniper chased sunlight across the floor. Ethan poured coffee. Our apartment felt like a place where I didn't have to brace for the next demand. For the first time, stability wasn't a weapon used against me. It was a home I built on purpose. And I walked down the aisle once, I'm not walking back into their script again. If my parents ever want a relationship with me, they'll have to meet me where truth lives. Because convenience is no longer my currency.